Hello, it's Steve from the future with a few notes about the video you're about to watch. This video is part of a longer series, and while I highly recommend going back and watching the previous videos, you can still totally follow along even if you want to see and apply just the learnings from this particular lesson. In that case, however, go to the description and grab the coin texture asset from the link that's in the description. All right, so far we have created our 2D player character, this knight over here. We have created a 2D level with multiple layers, so where our player can live and move and jump around, but there isn't really that much of a gameplay yet. So let's actually fix that in this section. If I close the preview and go to the content browser, in the 2D assets, if you imported everything that I showed you to import when we were setting up this project, you also have this coin texture over here. If I zoom in, you can see there is a coin with a rotating animation. And so what we're gonna implement next in this series is a coin blueprint that you will be able to place into various locations in your world. That's gonna have its own rotating animation, and the character is gonna be able to collect that coin. Let's get into that. All right, so the very first thing I would say is let's organize our files a little bit. So in the 2D assets folder, I'm going to create a new one called simply coin, and we're going to move this texture in there. Move here. And here we're going to extract the flipbook, the animation. You already know exactly how to do that. There is just one simple spinning animation included in this file. So if you want for the best practice, pause the video right now and extract the flipbook from this texture. When you're done, come back and see for yourself if you've done it correctly. If you don't feel as comfortable yet, that's completely fine. You can follow along. Hi, it's Steve from the future again, and if you jumped into the series through this episode and you haven't really seen the previous videos, then there is one more important thing that you need to do before you start extracting the flipbooks. Go to the coin texture file, right-click, go to Sprite Actions, and apply Paper 2D texture settings to avoid getting blurry textures. So we're gonna right-click the coin, go to PaperZD Actions, and click Extract Flipbook. And we currently have only one simple animation, so we're gonna do just one flipbook. I'm gonna go straight to the Extraction tab, and we remember that the width is 16, since there is just one row that's already set up to 16, and we can leave everything else as is. I'm just gonna go to the naming and I'm gonna say over here underscore spin. I'm gonna copy that over to the sprite naming template as well as before, and animation sequence as well. So it's gonna be underscore spin underscore 1. And that's actually all we need to do here. So I'm gonna click extract, and we have the sprites over here, 0 all the way to 11, and we have the flipbook. I gotta say I'm relatively satisfied with the spinning speed, so I'm gonna leave this as is. In larger projects, it might make sense to change the frames per second to 60, and then you would have to adjust these frames to reflect the new FPS. Now I'm gonna go to the blueprints folder, and I'm gonna create a new folder called coin. Open that, and create a new blueprint class. And here we're gonna choose a simple actor. I'm gonna call it BP underscore coin. Open it. And here we need two things. We're gonna add a collision capsule. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna do sphere collision because coin probably fits into this shape better. So I'm gonna call it collision. And inside that, we're gonna add paper flipbook. And for the flipbook, when I choose that component, I can go to the right-hand menu and choose the source flipbook, FB underscore coin underscore spin. And if I deselect everything, you can see that we have the spinning coin. All right, so let's scale up the coin. I played around with some scales. I think if we scale it up by the factor of 6, it's about perfect. I don't think I'm going to scale down the collision. I'm going to leave it as it is. So I'm going to remember 6, change this back to 1. And just like before, I'm going to go to the assets, coin, and I'm going to select all the sprites related to the coin, right click, asset actions, edit in property matrix. And here we're going to open Sprite menu and do 1 divided by 6. I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to the level, and it seems really good. I'm going to click play just to test things out, and I think the scale is about right. You can obviously play around with it, scale it up or down, depending on what you like, but for me, this is perfect. Let's now implement the collisions. So in the BP underscore coin, I'm going to choose, I'm going to select the collision component. And in the details search in the right-hand menu, I'm going to type in collision. And the preset that we currently have here is overall all dynamic, which is probably what we want to keep. So I'm not even going to change this. But I'm going to go to event graph and I'm going to implement some logic. So the first thing is that whenever the player touches the coin, I want it to disappear because that's usually what happens. So we're going to use this trigger event actor begin overlap. Here I'm going to super simply do destroy actor, and I'm going to press save, compile, and if I go back to the game, if I run up to the coin, it's going to disappear as if the knight has actually collected that coin. All right, and that is actually it. It's relatively simple, so congratulations on taking yet another step towards making your own 2D game. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button. It helps the channel tremendously. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe because I'm releasing new episodes every single week. All right, good luck on your game dev journey, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.